Oh, Ronnie Reagan. We'll call this council special session to order. It is Wednesday, June 12th. The time is 6:30 p.m. We're going to review the scores for a responsive proposal received for special event coordination and management services. So we have the scores here. And so we have Cascadia Glamping of a total score of 82.8. We have Angela Wayman of 61.05. We have Treadway Events and Entertainment at 79.25. Then we have E2C at 67.1. So I want to thank everybody who was part of this process and went through and all the multiple pages that were in the proposals and reviewed and gave their responses. Much appreciated. Thank you, Judy. Trying to think of who else here. Haley. Yeah. So yeah, so what kind of discussion you guys want to talk about on this? I know that there's been some outreach about maybe doing some interviews. I don't know how you all feel about that. I'm definitely in favor of interviewing person, couple people.
I think
three,
maybe like
maybe
the
all
top
of them.
two, because I don't know if spend a lot of time picking them.
I mean, the deadline is coming up.
Initially, I thought it would be nice to interview all four of them, which I think would have been nice if the interview was part of the scoring process, that we added points for the interview, but since it's not, I think I would like to interview the top two, would be my preference.
Great.
It's the consensus of the council, we just look to the calendar, try to get a time and a date that works for people, that gives them enough time to prepare and this is scheduled.
Well, and I mean, I'm just gonna, I think it should be the top three, and I'll tell you the reason being on that is that, I know that for the, pricing point, that, I think we should definitely, consider E2C in the process. That's just my feeling on it, because pricing point, you can see the scores were very, very low. So, and that was, I think, the difference. If it was the best bargain, that one will be right at the top. That's just my feeling on it. And that will be a 15 points difference.
Well, I'm gonna say that I don't believe it was just the price point that brought the overall points down.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that that's the only reason why we should be considering to bring them in, because if that's the case, then we should be considering the fourth one as well. So I think just for the process of keeping it as fair as possible and just going off of the scores, I think we should just stay with the top two.
Any other discussion on that? Want to comment? I appreciate it. Everybody's feeling, I would like everybody to comment on it.
I think the top three would be the way to go. Top two, we've got one outfit that's not local and one's local. It would be interesting to talk to the two.
Yeah, as important as it is, Councilor Sundin, I would agree with you. I mean, all four would have been, this is not something that it brings millions of dollars to our community. I think we should.
At this point, I'm not in favor of all four. Just like I said, we went through this process, we've scored them. I don't see the need of going back and interviewing every one of them after we've gone through all of this.
I'm fine with the top two as well.
So what you're saying, you thought too?
I think there's enough difference there that sets those two apart.
So. Any other discussion that we need to have on this?
Just on calendar and trying to get your schedules to align.
Yeah. So we have a little bit of this on our future agenda coming up, a little bit of talk about that. So. Do we talk about it here and we can take that off our agenda, or are we going to be doing the interviews that day? We won't have time that day. We have multiple public hearings too. We're gonna have a bunch of annexations and also sell property at 6 o'clock. And then annexations one after another, 3 of them, and then our regular session. Definitely take them up, just so you guys know. And we're also going to be discussing in our work session, the parking downtown. Chris Iverson's giving his presentation, the parking downtown, then we have Paul Vogel. And then we had, what else do we have on the agenda, Lisa? What was after Paul? That was the tourism.
Tourism committee.
Yeah, tourism committee discussion, so. I don't know that we'd have time to do the interviews then.
I think this sooner the better.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
So
Special,
we can definitely do a special, yes, sit down and actually make it more comfortable and sit down too, and have a
And then
sit down.
do we want to have the committee involved in the next part of this process?
Done their job, so let's narrow it down. Smaller and smaller,
Yeah,
make the decision.
okay. All right,
So just to be clear on the RFP lays out some options about moving to the next step and doing either interviews, presentations, demonstrations, additional submittal items, discussions of submittal of revised proposals or negotiations of either simultaneous or serial. And what do you want to see? You want them to get proposals? Should we prepare questions? You want to ask? Or do you want to do both?
well, I think one of the things that I would like to, so there's concern from the Kiwanis about how this is going to affect them, right? And I would like to get some information on that, like what these people, individuals are able to. And getting funds. And being funded. Makes sense?
So an interview question that asks how we're going to support local nonprofits. Is that-
That makes sense to me, yeah. Much better than.
I think I would be open to seeing a brief presentation. I know some of them went into detail about what they envisioned for each of the events. Others didn't. I would maybe say one event, if Halloween Town's our key event, just saying, could you give us a brief rundown of what you envision for this major event? It doesn't have to be a lot of detail, but just if we had to choose between the 4 events that are listed, that would be my choice.
Scenario type of a.
And with maybe some interview questions at the end?
For 2 nights.
A lot of financial questions, that seems to be the area.
and I'm just gonna come back to, because we speak. To the community as a whole, I really would like to see E2C as part of that. They are a third. Having had experience in running this from the start to where it's at now. I just feel I feel like we should be obligated to at least allow an interview. That's just me. That's who I am, and that's why I spoke on that right off the get-go. I understand time is of the essence and the top two, but I think we should at least, the only thing I see is the price point difference. And there wasn't really a price, it was a percentage that she was proposing. If we're being honest. So, and that actually by our attorney said that we had to assume that was gonna be the high one. So. That being said, that's why. I think we at least. Me personally, I feel like we owe it to that contractor.
I mean, think we reached a consensus and unfortunately that's not, the direction you wanna go with, Mr. Mayor, so. I think that's what we
Yeah,
need to
that's right.
do. That's how we need to move forward.
That's right. I'm only one vote as city councilor. So.
We went through a bidding process.
Yeah. So I just wanted to make it for the record that that's what way I feel.
And part of me feels that way too. But there's enough discrepancy between the points. There's enough of a difference there where I think those two came forward. Like I say, we went through the process. Committee scored them and scored them based on what they saw in the proposals, which is what I tried to do, was base my opinion off of what was presented to us.
Yeah.
And like Jessica said, I think there's a reason that the ones that came out above did.
All right, so
So special meeting,
yep,
and I would recommend at least an hour time slot for each
yes,
proposer. And just to leave any kind of perceptions of favoritism, because it's gonna be a public meeting. That who goes first or second is based on a coin toss or something.
yes, yep,
Just because it might come up and.
Yeah.
Do that publicly.
right now. Happened to have a quarter. Somebody call it. No, it's for him.
Yeah.
Heads for
So
him.
you're.
No, heads for him.
The treadway.
Redway? It's heads. Redway's
Well,
first.
that's not fair. You gotta do it again.
Redway's fair.
You got a 30?
No, it was.
Yes, he didn't see it. Mark didn't see it.
Don't see it. All right, so Treadway will be the first. And Cascadia to follow.
First hour, 15-minute break and another.
Yep.
Another hour.
Yep, and then the liberation after that.
And a date.
You wanna do it next week? The 18th is probably the 18th or 20th.
Tuesdays, I can't Tuesday.
Okay, so Thursday, the 20th.
You guys good with Thursday the 20th? Or do you rather do it before?
Monday.
The 17th,
17th,
the Parks and Trails, but you could do it after that.
good. Count for Sunday to be here. What do you guys wanna do? I'm flexible, the 17th to the 20th.
Seventeenth.
17th,
Works for me.
Parks and Trails runs how long, Lucy?
6 till 6.
Well, that's not
So,
bad. Yeah.
6 o'clock. We'll schedule right after them. Okay. Again, thank you for everybody who participated in the process and, yeah. We will be doing interviews and hopefully, find some very qualified people or person to, help us out with our tour. So with that, we're adjourned.